Right, okay, welcome back. We've got another video for you coming up. We know this side's looking spot on. Ta-da! Lovely. Other side, had a few problems with, as you know. Let's have a recap of what we've done over there, and I'll get set up, and then we'll see how it looks now. Hello, welcome to Steve's job. We've got the other side sorted, that's beautiful. But this side we had a few problems with. I didn't time it right, and I paid the ultimate price. Epic failure. We had drought, and then we had an absolute deluge of rain, and it only lasted 5 minutes, but it did untold damage. But today, 3 or 4 weeks later, we're going to sort it out, and going into September and October, we're going to be absolutely spot on. So I'll show you how to do that now. See you in a bit. Right, so first of all, get my old friend out. We're going to give this a light scarify. It's definitely a scarify, not a verticut, because we want to actually go into that soil a little bit, just to create some little grooves for the new seed to go into. And then we're going to reseed it, Jack's magic, and we're going to repair the damage over there with all the channels where the rain just washed all the root zone away. I've got a neat little trick lined up which I can show you, and then that'll come back beautiful. So this is where it all got washed away and created these little channels. It's actually a lot lower there. You can see how I rise up. I'm not sure you can make that out, but if I stick my phone in there, you can see we're a lot lower, and it created all these channels up here, like a little riverbed. And it just was absolutely ridiculous. I saw it happen, and it broke my heart. But we're going to sort it out today. Few weeds knocking about, and there's quite a bit of annual meadow grass in there as well, which I've been able to take out and get on top of because I've not been feeding it and stuff. So we're on to a winner with that. Even though it might look a bit shambolic at the moment, I promise you in a couple of weeks we'll be absolutely spot on. Okay, so I'll just show you the areas where we are. So we've just got all these little pockets where the seed washed away. Bloody awful. But we show you the very best, and we also show you the very worst here. There's no hiding place. So, and you know, I know there's a few others on my Facebook group, Daniel Hibbert Lawn Expert Geek Haven, if you wanted to join, who have suffered similar problems with deluges, you know, and they don't have to be for hours and hours and hours. They can literally be 5 minutes like here, and it was just so heavy that it just couldn't cope, especially with it being on a slope. So I'll give you a better vantage point of this. So I've got the top dressing here, but because it's kiln dried, it won't work because it'll just wash away because the water won't be able to get through to the bottom. So what I'm going to do is mix it in a bucket first, get it really wet, mix it with some Jack's Magic and put it in there. And that's the nice little trick, but I'll show you that when I'm doing it. Just wanted to show you what the lawn looks like. Look at the colour of that one over there, and then we look at this one, and the neighbours just said, what's going on? It's a different colour, why is that? So I've just been explaining to him, and that's where I went on the time lapse. So yeah, up here was an absolute disaster as well. Funnily enough, this side was the last side to germinate, because I did this about 4 days later, and it's actually come through better. So you see now we've created all those little grooves for the seed to sit in. So this will be up in no time. We just need a bit of rain once it comes. So yeah, let's get on with mowing this up. So just rake that in. Got a bit of a pile there, so I'll just bag that up and we can use that when we do next door neighbours. So I've just seeded and top dressed that. This side's getting the sand first, so that's why, if you're wondering why I've done the line, that's why. Now what I've been able to do was, because of that flat rake, I've just been able to really work that compost in, so it looks really, really good. And from where it was when I got here to where it is now, I can't believe the difference. Amazing what a bit of darkness does to the grass colour. It really makes it nice and green. So it's hot tomorrow, so I'm not going to fight that glaringly hot sun tomorrow, so I'm just going to leave this like this, do that tomorrow night. I'm pointing over there because the sand will just dry out, so I'll do that once that's gone. Thursday, some rain due, and this is underway, and it will look like that over there. So actually I'll just show you, because we did the thing on Saturday, didn't we, with the scarifying, and I fed it with the big retailer stuff, and we're watering it now, but it looks $1 million. I did actually put some of the step high mag on as well, another application of that, and I think that's what's given us a good colour already, because I can't think the big retailer feed has kicked in already. So when that does, we're going to be buzzing. If you were wondering what that patch is there, they have another gardener. He's an old friend of mine, and he likes to round up instead of weeding everywhere. And he turns up, gets out of his van, he walks all the way along there, orange spot marks, and then he comes in, has a look over here, walks there, all the way up to the top. We have big orange footprints. So cheers, mate, all the best. Still employed. We don't want to get sacked because I don't do any other gardening, so it's important that we keep him on to keep me happy. So that's it for tonight. Back tomorrow to finish that, and then that should look like this in a few weeks. I've promised him we're going watching Sunderland, at Sunderland, me and Steve, in a few weeks. So I've said it'll be like this before we set off, and he says if it's not, oh, you'll be getting it all the way up. So I've got to get it sorted, because I don't want to be listening to that for 2-3 hours in the van. So see you soon. Right, okay, so now I've got my 70-30 top dressing wet, mixed with Jack's Magic, just to give it some body. I'm now ready to spread it in these grooves that were created when we had the deluge of rain. So, simply, if I don't trip over the bucket first, I'm just going to pour it where I think I need it, and then get my big rake and just literally screed it. So let's try that and see how we get on. This is a new territory for me. I've never done anything like this before because this has never happened to me in this way, so all new, so you have to bear with me. Hopefully it'll work. But if I just put the 70-30 top dressing in, it would just be like dust. So I like to wet it down so I can get some compaction with it as well, if you're wondering why I did that. Yeah, looks good. Okay, so that was pretty easy. What I'm going to do now is just seed that area and seed everywhere else. Then we'll spread the rest of the top dressing, which we have there, and then I'll put the rest of the Jack's Magic on all over so it blends in with next door, and then we'll let the water come Thursday. I'm going to cover that over with the blue sheet from Keith's job because there is some heavy rain coming and I don't want that washing away, so I'm just going to belt and braces with that one and cover it over just as a temporary thing, not for germination properties or anything like that, merely just to stop that washing away if the rain does get heavy. I don't envisage any problems with this side because we've got the grass acting as like a buffer, so it shouldn't wash away too much anything if we do get any major storms. I do time these things to absolute non-perfection, don't I? But that's the British weather for you, and the northwest weather in particular. So let's get the seed out and let's get this finished. Right, okay, so I've run out of Jack's Magic. I just need a couple more bags, so I'll get those tomorrow and finish off. Right, so I'm a lot happier. 3 weeks ago since we did all that work that you've just seen there, filling in the deluge damage, and funnily enough, when I'd done all that the day, I put a blue sheet over it because I knew there was another deluge coming, and the deluge got underneath the blue sheet and washed it all down again, so I had to rake it all back up. So this has been a bit of a nightmare this side, but fed it 10 days ago. That's kicked in now. The new seed I put with the Jack's Magic's come through alongside the existing old lawn. I've been able to hand pick out some annual meadow grass whilst it was looking dead, and that made it easier to see because it was seeding already, and it just made it more visible to the naked eye. So over the course of a week, every time I came, I went and just probably pulled out about 50 plants altogether. But I think I'm on top of it now, and I think I've more or less got all of them. You can never say you got all of them, but I think I did get a hell of a lot of them, and I've not seen any seed heads since, so hopefully we've cracked that one. But looking nice and green. Let's have a closer look at the damage over there, and we'll see how that's coming along because we've got a fox causing us problems now. So let's get it set up over there and I'll show you, and then we'll get it cut and see how it looks. So you can see it's nice and thick, looking. I've been just cutting it with the rotary for the last few weeks when's it needed it, and I think actually it's only 2 weeks since I did all the top dressing and stuff, because I did it on the 7th and it's only the 22nd today, so I think that makes it 2 weeks, doesn't it? So I'll take that back. So we're actually looking better than I thought after 2 weeks. There's a few weeds which could just be hand picked out. Looks like a nettle, that one. We'll soon find out if it's a nettle, because it'll sting, and it is doing, so it is a nettle. So I'll just whiz that over there. So we see now the seeds coming through where we filled in the holes. Another weed like a thistle there or something. I'm not picking that out with a bare hand, no way. So there's the fox damage. We just can't seem to get this area filled in. Slowly coming, but we'll get there. I'm just looking at there, is that a piece of annual meadow grass? This side's going to have a bit more in, because this had a lot of weed grasses in there anyway, so I think this will probably get a few of those back in, but really pleased with how it looks. If you're wondering why it's slightly discoloured this side, so when I said I was going to come back tomorrow with the Jack's Magic, I didn't actually make it back because I forgot. So that's why that area is looking a bit bleaker, and that's because it didn't get the Jack's Magic, so everywhere else did. And this side had Pro Turf, and this side didn't. This had Sierra Blend 2028 Renovator. I'm just using up all my stock, you see, because I don't want to end up with wastage, so I'm just throwing different things on different areas. It'll all come through, but the magnesium content of the Pro Turf is obviously showing through. But to counteract that, I have put the Step High Mag over everything on Monday, so that should all come together nicely in a week or so. We just need a good bit of rain now, because it's not really rained much for about since before the weekend actually. I think Sunday morning it chucked it down, so we've not had any rain since then. So we have a look here. It's coming through. There's still bits, just new bits coming through all the time. So on the whole, I know it took a long time, and Steve's been on at me, and he did say, because we're going watching Bolton at Sunderland on Saturday. He said if it's not done by that day, you'll be getting it all the way up. So that made me get a move on and get it right. So we're in a better place, and come after I've cut it, it'll look even a lot better, because I'm going to actually get on it with a cylinder stay and give it a double cut, and then he'll be pleased with that. So let's get that done, and I'll see you soon. Okay, so I've just been over that on the rotary on testing 2. It's never on anything other than that, so I can just go on 2 whenever I want, and there's not much thatch or anything, so I'm always making contact with the soil. So as you can see, I've not recreated the Olympics today and put rings everywhere. So what I'm going to go and do now is I'm going to get my cylinder over there. It's already out, so I've just cut that side, and we'll cut that up and down, just because sometimes when you go left to right on a hill, it tends to dig in and creates little steps. So I'm just going to safeguard that today and go up and down. And then we'll do a band round after. For God's sake, I just can't film a video without noise. Alright, so we've just done that with the cylinder mower. I don't know what setting it was on, but it was just slightly shorter than number 2, so I'm happy with that at the moment. We're not really interested in what height we're at the moment. It's just a case of getting it cut with that cylinder, just to polish those tips up and start getting it used to the various mowers that we've got. So, looks alright. No lovely jubbly today, or oops I did it again. Well, maybe an oops I did it again, like I messed up again, but you know, that's the rain. It's not so much me who messed up, but I got messed about by the rain. But that was my fault in part as well, because I seeded it during a drought when maybe I should have just waited a little bit and done it after. And I think we'd probably be a bit further on, but sometimes you've got outside pressures, customers, yourself, and these things, you know, transpire to work against you sometimes. So just always think about planning ahead and looking at the weather forecast before you start doing jobs and just what other things might affect your leaves. For one, if you're starting seeding jobs at this time of year, you know, they're going to play a big part in what happens. And here we've got a big willow there which is going to drop loads up until Christmas. It's a pain. So luckily we've got this away now and we can get on it with the mower to mow them up without doing any damage. Whereas if you're starting seeding now and then those leaves start to drop, you're not going to be able to get on it at all, and then the leaves are going to sit on the turf because you can't get it off, and you're going to end up with disease and dead bits. So bear that in mind if you are starting a late renovation. But other than that, it's green, it's stripy. I think Steve will be happy tonight, and I think I won't be getting ribbed all the way up to Sunderland because that's a long way, 3 hours of being told you're a failure. I got the crown back on that side, he says, but this side I failed. So but these things happen, so what we'll do is we'll keep persevering. We'll take the 3 Ps, the perseverance bit of that product as well, and the passion's always there. So until the next time, when this hopefully looks even better, the other side will have kicked in, that's it. Oh, go on, you can have a lovely jubbly from this side. Ooh, lovely jubbly.